Breaking news this morning as Lightcraft Academy News reports a severe weather warning coming out of Southern California. A major coastal storm is expected to impact the West Coast starting Sunday, bringing heavy rain and strong winds that will continue into early next week. The National Weather Service has issued a coastal flood watch and a wind advisory for the San Diego, California area.
Welcome back to Lightcraft Academy. This is a very special weather edition of Lightcraft Academy. We talk a lot on this channel about using Lightcraft or using Jetset for filmmaking, fiction filmmaking in particular. However, in the broadcast world, weather forecasting is amazing using Jetset, because when you think about Jetset, it is essentially a chroma key app. It's a green screen app, but we're taking green screen to a level that they could not do for years in weather forecasting, and that is you could never ever move the camera. Now I'm simulating it here because I'm alone in my cottage, as I said in the last video. If you had somebody behind, and I'll show you an example here with one of my well students. We were doing a weather forecast and the camera was handheld and we were able to follow her, and that brings these graphics to life in a way that you could never ever do it in the history of TV using green screen, blue screen. So I want to walk you through some different scenarios. I've done a deep dive in how you can, for zero cost or very low cost, build maps. If you're a student, if you're a teacher, rather teach your students how to do this. I want to walk you through that. I'm also using a reference image. I started doing this a few weeks ago. I take the map, I feed it into any number of AI models, and I simply say add in a weather reporter, and it takes a look at the scale and perspective and tells me where I should stand. And I've sort of modeled that as best I can, in fact I'm on a small green screen in my cottage, but I've sort of modeled it so that it looks like I am in this room. I'm not overpowering, I'm not too high or too big, and that would sort of destroy the immersion. You want this to look like it's a big map and you're in a big studio. At least that's the effect that I'm going for now. So I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to be pausing, switching backdrops, and show you some of the ways that you can use chroma key, particularly using weather forecast. So let's get into it. I'll be right back. Okay, in this use case, you're not seeing the studio. Essentially, the map is full screen, and this is great for doing weather forecasts. If you have, for instance, you have a temperature map, or I'm going to talk about this when I get to the voiceover, how you can use motion graphics. This is a spoiler alert, this is like a $6 monthly subscription to get these custom-made motion graphics that I can have weather reports and the wind and everything like that. As I do this, we're in the middle of a nor'easter in Boston, so it's very appropriate that I'd be showing you these maps. So here's just a good example. This is a full screen weather forecast where you're working it, and I'll come back later on. I'll show you how you can use green tape to here's a little secret, to know where the cities are, the towns are, the states are. I'll show you that in a second. Let me go to an infographic case use. In this case, I have an animated infographic, and again, I'm not just talking to teachers and students, but this would be something where your students could do some research. Maybe they go into CANVA, as I did here, and they're talking about, in this case, wildfires. With the infographic, you would stand appropriately. Remember, I'm angling this way. You'd have to teach them how to angle, but I'm angling this way. And the text is here. You could have the text in a hard copy on your phone, or you could have the students memorize it. You want to create the illusion that when you look over here, you can see this text, even though I'm looking at a green wall. But again, it's all about that illusion. Because I have the Jetset Pro version, which is just like, well, it is just like the free version, except that it has some bells and whistles. For instance, I can monitor what I'm doing right now on my laptop on a phone, because I'm tied into my IP address here. So very clever. It's something really worth the price of the subscription for Pro. If you didn't have that, there are some other workarounds using HDMI cables, but you could, what I'm saying is you could have confidence monitors set up in your classroom or in your studio if you're doing this with adult professional at a professional level. But again, another really interesting, compelling way to engage the audience. And rather than putting a graphic up on screen for them to read, if you can kind of work it and you're in the shot. So I'm standing at the appropriate place according to my confidence monitor, and the text is, looking at my confidence monitor, the text is right here. So let me go to another one. And back now with the green tape trick. You hopefully cannot see the green tape. It's actually a slightly different shade than my normal green screen, but I have marked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with green tape. So if I'm doing the weather forecast, I can actually with confidence point to Sunday, point to Monday, point to Tuesday. I can flip around, do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I know where I'm pointing because I have these little green tape markers. You can use that in the weekly forecasts, or if you're doing like the country and you're marking and you want to mark on the West Coast, East Coast, down in Florida. Really, really cool little trick, something that's really fun to do with your students. So these are the weather maps. Let me cut away now to my voiceover, and we'll talk about how you can source and create weather maps on your own for free and for a very little amount of dollars if you use one of the subscriptions. So let's go to a voiceover. We have so many options for either sourcing or creating weather graphics, and I'll go through a few of those options now. CANVA is a great place to start because it's so accessible, and CANVA has downloadable free templates for designing weather graphics. In this case, I set up a project in HD with an aspect ratio of 1920 by 1080. Using my iPhone, I've researched the 7-day forecast for Boston, and I simply transferred that information to my CANVA graphic, adding the correct weather images. Just export and bring in a Jetset. Weatherwise.app is both a cell phone app and an actual website. The Plus version of the app costs about $6 a month, and it gives you access to motion graphics that you can custom design and then screen record before importing in a Jetset. This is a really cool way to build some animation into your weather report. I discovered this website yesterday, and it's absolutely free. I will link to all of these resources in the description, but here you can custom build your multi-day forecast graphics by inputting the correct information, and the site populates that data for you. You also have control of the color scheme and labels. And as you can see here, it looks pretty nice when we bring it into Jetset. In addition to the weather sets, I've also uploaded some reference images to our weather assets on Flickr. These reference images are really helpful when setting up your shots in Jetset so that the perspective and scale of your talent is framed correctly. And it's so amazing that we're doing all this on a free app. And we're back in this gorgeous studio. Just some notes here as we wrap up. I will have links to everything that I've talked about in the description so that you can go to these websites and get going right away. CANVA, lots of free templates in CANVA. CANVA, as teachers know, is available to virtually every school on the universe for free. Great source for you to work on graphics, and those graphics work really well. In Jetset, I create everything in 1920 by 1080, so they're HD. But you have a lot of resources. Weather forecasting and green screen, it's a match made in heaven for Jetset. It's incredible what you can do. And remember, you're not seeing it very well here because I don't have a camera person, but you can get up and move around with the camera, and as you did that, you can follow me as I go in and work this map. So really cool stuff. Thank you. I am here on Cape Cod. I will be back in just a few days with a brand new edition of Lightcraft Academy. Please subscribe. Take care. We'll see you again.